Annette Funicello, Disney's princess and America's sweetheart, was the inspiration for a lot of teens in behind. That smile was a silent hell that she had been in since she was 12 years old, forbidden to love. Betrayed by a lover who never acknowledged her. Replaced by a co-star with an angelic face. Suffocated by the studio that made her, and by the end of her life, she had left behind 5 names she would never forgive: the man she hated the most, the woman who sent her flowers but stabbed her in the back with a smile, and the lover who wrote love songs only to embarrass her on national TV. You can't get out of the hellish world of a Disney princess who was betrayed by the people who made her kingdom once you enter. Annette Funicello was born on October 22, 1942, in Utica. She was the perfect all-American girl of the 1950s. Why? She's speaking out now. New York. Annette Funicello was born with a beautiful face and a destiny that seemed to be written in gold. But no one, not even she, could have imagined that her life would be filled with darkness until the very end. When she was only 12, Annette became the biggest star of the Mickey Mouse Club, a TV show that was adored across America like a childhood gospel. The little girls sang, danced, and smiled, always being obedient, humble, and innocent, just as Disney demanded. But Disney wasn't just a company, it was a velvet-lined, gold-plated cage where princesses were adored but never allowed to become women. Annette had to wear long sleeves at the beach and wasn't allowed to film kissing scenes with her co-star, who was her real-life boyfriend. Walt Disney once told the press, "Annette is a symbol of purity. No one, not even her, will ruin that." Years later, she admitted that she needed permission from 3 people every time she wanted to change her hairstyle: her manager, the studio, and Mr. Disney. But that was only the beginning of the tragedy that Annette faced behind the scenes, away from the attention of the public. Jealousy from colleagues, predatory stares from male co-stars, and cruel rumors about sleeping her way to success. She was once forced to reject Elvis Presley because Disney deemed him not family-friendly, and when she collapsed backstage from illness, no one called for help. A fellow actor simply stood there and laughed. In the late 1980s, Annette was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, a neurological disease that gradually paralyzed her body. Her arms could no longer lift a glass, her voice became shaky. But more painful than the illness were the pitying eyes of fans and the cold shoulders from those who once called her a legend. She was labeled the has-been, marked as an outdated Disney pet. Someone even said she should just die to preserve her image. And then, before her final breath, Annette did something she had never dared in over 70 years of life. She wrote down the names of 5 people who caused her pain, broke her spirit, and would never be forgiven. 5 names, no explanation, no reason. Each name was a storm that tore Hollywood's pretty front off. A boyfriend who never really loved her, a female coworker who smiled while stabbing her in the back, a co-star who made her smile, music, doll. One Walt Disney was the liar I've ever met, and he never wrote his name down. In her last notebook, she only pinned 3 words in all capital letters. The man of magic, the magic man, the man who found her and once told the whole country, "Annette is the best girl in America and she always will be." But no one knew that he was the one who made her act like a doll in public. Walt Disney didn't yell or insult her, he just smiled, nodded, and stared at her to tell her what to do. She once said, "He didn't have to say anything, just a frown, and I knew I'd done something wrong. I thought it was a father's love until I learned he didn't really love me. He loved my image, the copy of me he made." Annette wasn't allowed to love to grow up to be an adult. If she wanted to break out of the princess image, she had to play a bad guy or wear a dress with no back. The answer was always, oh. She wasn't allowed to date in public when stories spread about her and Paul Anka. The press got letters from Disney's lawyers right away warning them of possible lawsuits for hurting the image of a teenage star. "He turned me into an illusion, a plastic princess who couldn't cry, get angry, or speak the truth," she said. Annette wanted to leave the Beach Party film series because she felt her image was being used inappropriately. Disney took her to his office, gave her a gold ring with a heart carved on it, and told her, "You belong to us. You're not going anywhere," and she didn't leave out of fear because she knew she would lose everything until the day she found out. Actor 4, lie to her face, she had MS. In her notebook, she wrote, "I lost control of my arms and legs. But the truth is that I never had control of my life because Mr. Disney took it away from me when I was 12. It wasn't thanks, it was a diamond prison, and she hated him not because he was mean, but because he was so good at making everyone think he was an angel." To Annette Funicello. Walt Disney wasn't the person who invented magic, he was the cruelest magician Hollywood had ever seen. And that was just the beginning of the list. She would also name a co-star who stole my childhood and played the victim too. Frankie Avalon, the beauty thief with the age-old face. People at Frankie Avalon called him the King of the Beach. Frankie was America's sweetheart and the forever young face of the country. If you only look at photos of the dancing scenes and beachside kisses, you'd think he was the perfect co-star, but to Annette, Frankie wasn't a friend, he was a life sentence she had to endure in a bikini throughout her youth. When Annette was cast in the Beach Party film series, she thought it was her chance to break free from Disney's princess image and grow up and find her true self, but she soon realized I wasn't an actress, I was a prop, he was the star. When Annette wanted to wear a two-piece bikini like the other actresses, the director let her, but the next day Frankie walked into the dressing room and threw the bikini into the trash. "You're Annette, not Jane Mansfield, you wear this," he told her, handing her a full-body wetsuit that covered her from neck to knees. She hid her anger, thinking it would protect her, until she got pregnant with her first child and Frankie told the producers to cut all of her close-up scenes because she wasn't attractive. "That phrase cut through the belly of a woman carrying life," she wrote. In 1983, he only had to smile for the cameras and then look at me like I was a shade that made the picture less clear every day. "I loved Annette like a sister," Frankie said one time. Ned read that and laughed out loud because if she were his sister, he would be the type of brother to put her whole life on display just so he could stay in the spotlight. He didn't say sorry, not even once. That's why she hated Frankie more than her enemies in public. He pretended to be a friend while suffocating me with velvet-covered chains. Actor 3, the secret love story. Quiet Frankie Avalon was a youth icon in America, but to Annette, he was the face of silence, loss, and fear, which she never got back, not even at the end of her life. And the list doesn't end here. Next is a coworker who seemed perfect, but behind every bouquet and smile was a sneer when she fell. Do you dare to keep listening? The third name is a woman, and betrayal from a woman always cuts the deepest. 3 If Frankie Avalon ran the show, Shelley Fabry, the beautiful woman with the sly smile, was the one who made Annette feel the least important. Even when the cameras weren't rolling, people loved them. 2 Disney princesses, 2 beachside sweethearts dancing and laughing together, but behind the lens Shelley was the chill that crept through every crack in Annette's trust. She once wrote, "She never yelled, she never scolded, she just always happened to be standing near the director whispering to the assistant producer at just the right moment and appearing every time I stumbled. There was a time and it fell while filming a running scene on the beach. Her knee was bloodied, her hand scraped, the crew rushed to help, but Shelley just stood there clapping and laughing. You felt just like a pro. Give her an Emmy." A joke, a light laugh, but to Annette it was a deep slicing cut. After the shoot, Shelley sent a bouquet to Annette's room. The card read, "You've always been my inspiration, wishing you a speedy recovery." Annette kept that card for 30 years, not because she liked it, but because it reminded her not to believe words that smell like perfume. Then there was the story that didn't make the news. Annette almost got a part in a big TV drama that would have been her first real break from her Disney image, but the producer called at the last minute and said, "We're going with Shelley. She's sharper and more mature." That night, I broke a mirror in her dressing room because she always made me feel like a singing doll, and the worst part was that Shelley knew it and liked it. Annette never said anything bad about Shell in public. She still smiled and hugged her at Disney reunions. But in her notebook, she wrote, "She didn't kill me with a sword, she killed me with ribbons, with glances, with compliments laced with venom." Shelley Fabry was the picture of beauty on American TV, but to Annette, she was just a friend who smiled when she cried and a coworker who cheered when she was replaced. And now for the fourth name, Paul Nka. He was no longer a coworker or a co-star, but a man who made her dream turn into a nightmare. Their love story never came true, and they were hurt by a famous song and a mean comment. Actor 2. Silent betrayal, my death sentence, and that never called Paul Anka her lover, not in her diary, not in interviews, not once, but she also never denied what happened between them, the backstage nights, the whispered words on small stages, the stolen glances never meant for the public eye, and that made it hurt even more, made it more real, more bitter. Paul once wrote the song Puppy Love and all of America believed it was for Annette, but she knew the truth. I wasn't the love in that song, I was just the name that helped it sell 1 million records. She once thought Paul understood her, he was different from her co-stars, charming, talented, with honeyed words, but then one night in Palm Springs Annette saw him embracing a blonde model backstage, still holding the birthday card she had just given him that night. She returned to her room and silently tore up every unsent letter she'd written him. No one knew, but later she wrote, "I loved a song, not a man. I loved the idea of Paul, but Paul loved himself." Did you ever really love Annette Funicello? Was asked of Paul Anka in an interview in 1971. He laughed in a way that was both serious and funny. "She's the kind of girl that everyone wants to marry but no one dates." The quote went viral in Hollywood, and for Annette, it was not only an insult, it cut her off from everything she thought she was worth. "He turned me into a sweet little love, but I wasn't attractive enough to hold hands in public. I was the byproduct of a melody, a memory he used to sell records," she said. Paul never apologized because in the world of male stars, women are art material, not the main characters. Paul Anka was the romantic heartthrob of the 1960s, but to Annette, he was the first person who taught her that loving the wrong person doesn't hurt just once, it hurts for life. And now get ready, because the last name didn't come from the stage or music. It came from the dark corners of Disney, where no one dared to look. It was the fifth man, a close co-star who was a public victim and the reflection of everything Annette feared most about herself. Annette dug Hollywood out of the sand and brought it back to life. 5. Tommy Kirk, the mirror. I didn't dare look into Tommy Kirk. He was Annette's favorite co-star in many classic Disney movies, such as The Shaggy Dog and Swiss Family Robinson. At one point, he was the studio's best actor. 1. The final villain. Boy was a good, innocent character straight out of a fairy tale until Disney found out he was gay and threw him away like a dirty rag. Annette saw it all happen but didn't say anything. She didn't hate Tommy because he did anything wrong, she hated him because he made her realize how weak she was. He was the flaw in the Disney mirror she had worked so hard to believe was perfect, a reminder that we are never free, even when we smile in front of millions. 5 names, 5 cuts, no saying sorry, no healing. Lynn Funicello, America's perfect girl, died with 5 deep wounds in her heart that hadn't healed. Do you still believe in Hollywood, or have you just learned that the brightest lights can hide the darkest shadows?